2025 was not a straight line for my weight loss journey. I lost weight, I gained some back. I had to stop Zepbound for months, and I learned more than I thought that I would. Today, I am ready to share a honest 2025 year in review and what 2025 has taught me about my body, Zepbound, and myself. Let's talk about it. For those visiting for the first time, welcome to the channel. For those returning viewers, welcome back to the channel. I am Beverly. This is my channel, Becoming the Best Me. Full disclaimer before I get into the video, I am not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not any sort of medical professional. I am just a girl who's been on a weight loss journey with the help of Zepbound Tirzepatide. Anything that I share here is personal experience and things that I found that works for me, and also things that myself and my doctor have implemented into my journey because it would work for me. I am just sharing my story with you. I'm sharing my experiences with you while being on the medication. I have some notes here on my tablet, some bullet points that I want to share with you. So I will be reading from this tablet and speaking to you about my 2025 year in review. Let's get into the subject. Before we go forward, I'm going to go back a little bit just to give you a little background of where I'm coming from and why I started my weight loss journey. Prior to January 26, 2024, that's when I started Zepbound, I was 240 pounds. I was tired, my joints ached, my back ached, I was borderline diabetic, I was hypertensive, uncontrolled, and was switching back and forth between different meds because my doctor was having a hard time getting my blood pressure under control. I had pains in my knees from arthritis, and my A1C started to climb. And when I heard the word pre-diabetes, that was the limit. Because although I'm not a medical professional, I do work in the medical sector, and I do have some educational background in the medical field. So I know about the disease process. And there's something in the back of my mind about diabetes. I'm not as freaked about hypertension as I am about diabetes. I don't know why, because they're both dangerous. But anyway, when I heard pre-diabetic, that was the cutoff for me. I'm like, okay, something's got to be done. And on top of that, I was in so much pain in my joints that there were times when I would have to sit on my bottom to go down the stairs. It hurts so bad to go up and down my stairs because I have stairs in my home. That was the limit. So my doctor and I sat down, we had a conversation, and after speaking with her, I decided to try phentermine. I don't remember what doses I was on. I think it was whatever the minimum dose is. She started me on that. And I lost about 15 pounds. But going through that, I started to have heart palpitations. And she sent me to see a cardiologist. He ran tests. Everything came back fine. And it was decided that it was the phentermine. So I had to stop the phentermine. So I came off of phentermine. Went back to my doctor to have a conversation. At this time, She was just learning about Zepbound. I had never heard about Zepbound or Tirzepatide. I've never heard anything about these GLP-1 medications. This was going to be my first encounter. I don't know if she had known. She acted like she didn't know because she was happy and excited to tell me about it. Anyway, we sat down, we had a conversation. I told her I wasn't sure. She gave me some literature and I took it home and I read about it. And on my follow-up visit, I told her, I said, okay, I'm on board. And there started my journey with Zepbound Tirzepatide. I started on the name brand medication, but my insurance didn't cover it. So I did 2.5 and 5 on Zepbound at $550 a pop. And that was with the Eli Lilly discount card at the time. Again, this is my first experience with this drug. And after my 5 milligrams was done, I was like, I don't know if I could continue this financially, but the weight had started to come off. The food noise was gone. My joint pain eased. It was just so strange. I felt is that my head was quiet and my body felt different. At that time, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was inflammation and the inflammation was coming off of my body. At that time, I didn't know what it was. I knew that I just felt different. So I had a decision to make. So what I did, I decided, I didn't speak to my doctor, that I was going to go on compound. I didn't speak to my doctor because I kind of knew that she wouldn't be on board with it. And because I had seen, I think at that time I had already lost, I think it was 15 pounds. By the time I got through 5, I had lost 15 pounds. But I had lost so many inches and I was feeling so much better in my body that I decided that, okay, I'm going to go on compound. At this time, I was watching different videos and people talking about, oh my God, I just lost my train of thought, about the compound medications. And I was also on Reddit. I was, Facebook groups. I was reading different forums and educating myself. And although it would still cost me, it wasn't going to be $550. So I jumped in and I started using compound medication, the compound Tirzepatide. Okay, the progress. I'm going to kind of really speed through 2024 because this video is about 2025. But in order for me to get to 2025, I have to include some details about 2024. And I'm trying not to make the video too long, but I feel that in order for you to get the whole picture, I have to include some of 2024. So again, I started Zepbound January 26th of 2024. 2.5, I stayed 2 months. 5, I stayed 2 months. 1 month on Zepbound, and then I started compound Tirzepatide. Then I went to 10. I believe 10, I stayed probably 3 months. And probably more, because by the time I got to 12.5, we were into 2025. And once I got to 12.5, I stayed on 12.5 the longest. I don't remember how many months, but I stayed on it because I was afraid of going to 15, which 15 is the highest dose. And I had been reading at that time that the side effects, people were saying different things. So I was a little hesitant to go to 15. And again, that's the max dose. And I was afraid that if I went to 15 and I maxed out, the weight loss stopped, there wasn't anywhere else for me to go. So that's why I stayed on 12.5. But anyway, eventually I moved to 12.5. At this time, I had already lost about 65 pounds. So total weight loss for me to this point is about 80 pounds if you include the 15 pounds I lost on phentermine. But I'm giving the 65 pounds to Zepbound. My lowest weight was 159. So I came from 240 pounds to 159. I went from a size, my sizes were all over the place. My highest size was a 22. So I went from a 22 all the way to a 10. I believe I even got into an 8 at one point. And I was feeling good. But then I stalled. And then I was having body dysmorphia. What I was looking into the mirror and seeing, it was not what was in my head. I still thought that I was heavy. And although I didn't like how I was shaping out, like my face had gotten really thin. I could see my bones. I could feel my bones. I could feel my hip bone, which was very strange to me because I don't even remember before then the last time I felt my hip bone. So it was strange to me. It was a strange thing that I had to get used to. It's like I had to relearn my body, and I had to have my eyes and my mind meet. There had to be some meeting there, and they weren't meeting. And then I stalled. I stalled for many, many months. And then something happened. I'm gonna just kind of speed it up because I don't want to make the video too long. I was with Join Fridays at the time, and they have a team of people that do prior authorizations. So one of the nurses or the medical people, I can't remember if it was a nurse, I think it was, she said to me, I'm going to try and push your PA again. I'm like, okay. At this time, I had changed jobs, so I no longer had Aetna. I have UMR. So I'm like, okay, I had already made up my mind. Insurance wasn't going to cover it. I'm just going to financially make it happen because I wanted the weight to come off. Lo and behold, it came back approved. I think in May of 2025, I got the approval. So it was approved from May all the way to November. It was supposed to be approved until the end of November 2025. Or was it March? I believe it was March, April, May, June, because I'm going to tell you what happened in July. So I had a 3-4 month reprieve, which I was feeling good. I was back on name brand. My copay was $25. Hey, life was good. I was saving, because what was I paying with Join Fridays? I think I was paying at the time $199 plus $99 for the membership. So $300 a month. So I was using my HSA account, to help me, offset some of the monies that I had to pay. So it came back approved. I got on Zepbound, name brand, and again, life was good. Lo and behold, I get a letter from CVS Caremart, stating that as of July 31st, 2025, they will no longer be covering Zepbound. and that I would have to switch to Wegovy. I was freaking out because, again, I'm on the forums, I'm in the Facebook group, I'm reading different articles on my own, and I'm hearing about all the different side effects of Wegovy. So I was freaking out. I didn't want to go to Wegovy. I called the insurance company, I called CVS Caremark, back and forth with no avail. So finally, the end of July, August comes. What am I going to do? I went to my doctor. I talked to her. She said, well, they're the same medication, blah, blah, blah. Just one has this and one doesn't have that, And she said, what do you want to do? I'll write the prescription. I said, okay, I'll try it. And I waited. I got the prescription and I waited I want to say almost a month. I put it in the fridge and I had a little bit of compound left. So I finished out my compound that I had and I took one injection of the Wegovy. And that started the snowball. Okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit. I don't know if I can blame it totally on Wegovy because I'm going to tell you the signs and symptoms that I had. After I took the Wegovy injection, it wasn't right away. It was a couple of days in. I want to say maybe by the end of the week, I started having upper abdominal pain. But I ignored it because I had the pain before. But I thought it was gas. And, on Zepbound, you don't have much of an appetite. You're skipping meals, hours go by before you eat a meal. So what I would do is I would just have tea. I have my herbal teas, whatever, and I would get something to eat. I would take the papaya and enzymes, and that would just sort of ease the pain. I didn't know that something was going on. Anyway, it seemed that Wegovy kicked it into overdrive. Oh my gosh. This pain woke me out my sleep. It was on my left side and it was under my breast. I couldn't catch my breath. I had pain in my arms, numbness tingling in my fingers. I couldn't catch my breath. So because I wasn't getting in enough oxygen, my fingers were curling up. I felt like I wanted to have a bowel movement. So doubled over, I was able to make some tea. And I forgot what I put in it. I made some type of concoction with apple cider vinegar or something. And I took it with me into the bathroom. And I sat on the toilet. TMI, if this upsets you, this may be a time for you to turn off. And I was doubled over on the toilet. And I did have a small bowel movement. But the pain got even more intense. I was having cold sweat. And I know from my medical knowledge that sometimes when you're on the toilet, it can cause you to pass out. So I, clean myself and I get up. I open the window. I'm running the cold water on my hands, on my wrists, because, that cools your body down. I'm splashing my face. And I'm over the sink and I'm doubled over and I can't breathe. I can't catch my breath. Well, mind you, I had an episode like this before, not so much with the abdominal pain, but with the breathing and can't catch my breath and my limbs curling up because lack of oxygen. When I went to the ER, they told me, they did all the tests. Everything at that time was normal. They told me it was anxiety. I was suffering from anxiety. I followed up with my doctor, blah, blah, blah. Everything was fine. But this time, I literally felt like I was having a heart attack. I live alone and I was freaking out. So after some minutes, the pain is getting worse. So I dial 911. And I'm on the phone with the lady and she's coaching me. And she said, in through your nose, out through your mouth, blah, 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 whatever. The ambulance finally gets here and I'm doubled over. I am always freaked because I live alone. So my first thing is anytime I'm not feeling well, I make sure that all my entrances, someone has access to get to me. So when the ambulance gets here, I have three floors in my home. I'm on the second floor in the bathroom, and I could hear the guy coming in the door, and they're knocking and they're banging. I said, I'm up here. So this time I'm laid out on the bathroom floor, curled up in the fetal position. And he comes upstairs. He said, what's going on? Anyway, so I explained to him, what's going on. So, the first thing they do is, take your vitals. They try to lay me out flat so they can get an EKG and, my O2 stats and, whatever. And so he sees my fingers. He said, ma'am, you have to breathe. You're not getting enough oxygen. So he sits me up and he's coaching me to breathe. He said, you have to breathe. Let's get you. They get me on a chair and they get me into the ambulance. And I still can't catch my breath. And this pain, I swear to you, I thought I was having a heart attack. It's all the signs and symptoms of a heart attack. And I'm in the ambulance. The EKG looks funny. They can't get the O2 stats, my blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. So he gives me a shot of, is it Epi? I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if it's Epi. The shot that they give when you're cardiac compromised because of all the different things that was going on with me at the time. So they get me to the emergency room and they're running tests. They did a CT scan, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm there for hours upon hours. Finally, when all the tests comes back, the doctor comes to me and he says, you are having a bout of acute pancreatitis. So he says, talk to me. What's going on? So this is the first time I'm going to encounter the doctor to really talk to him because they were busy running tests. Because mind you now, the call that they got is a 58-year-old woman possibly having a heart attack. So that was their focus at the time. After the test was run, my cardiac enzymes came back normal. The EKG started come back normal because they had me on oxygen. That's when everything could calm down now, and I could really, I had gotten my breathing back, and I could really sit down. And the doctor, came in and sat down and talked to me. So I explained to them, I'm on this weight loss medication, blah, blah, blah. And this was my first injection with Wegovy. And he said, well, yes, it's a possibility that the Wegovy caused the acute pancreatitis. And I'm not going to go into details too much, but you don't want to continue to have bouts of acute pancreatitis because you don't want to have chronic pancreatitis. So anyway, I was there for hours and they released me to follow up with my primary care physician. And I did. And when I went to her, sat with her, had a conversation, and she said, obviously, you're off of Wegovy. So she said, okay. So I said, well, I've been on Zepbound all this time. I've never had an issue until taking Wegovy. So can I go back on Zepbound? Because in my mind now, I'm thinking I'm going to gain the weight back and, lose all the progress that I've gained over almost 2 years. So she said, well, let me look up and see what the stats are on Zepbound. So for Wegovy, it's 0.05 or something like that percentage that it can cause acute pancreatitis. When she looked it up, Zepbound had the same number. So she said, well, Zepbound has the same number. I'm not going to put you back on it until we know that you're good. I am devastated because in my mind now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to gain the weight back because this is the talk around town. In all the groups and, in the forums, there's people that stop the GLP-1 medications, they gain all the weight back. Anyway, she takes me off, I think it was October. I'm off. So October, so I think at the beginning of October, so I'm going to count October, November, December, January. So I've been off of GLP-1 medication for about 4 months. All right. So I followed up with my doctor again. And by this time, everything is back to normal. She sent another round of tests to make sure that my pancreatic enzymes were back to normal. Basically, all my labs and stuff looked normal. So before going to see her, I had called the insurance company again just to see. I wanted to satisfy myself that if I wanted to, or if they would allow me to get back on Zepbound since taking Wegovy and it caused me to have this medical emergency. So the person that I spoke to on the phone, she said, well, the only way we can do that is if your doctor sends in what they call a medical necessity, that you have XY conditions and this is why you need Zepbound. So I did that before following up with my doctor. So when I went to her, I told her what the insurance company said, and she said, absolutely not. She said, I love her, but she is so by the book that it gets under my skin. But I totally get it. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But, sometimes as patients, we just have in our head, we want to do what we want to do. So she says, no. She said, I'm sending you to see an endocrine specialist. She is the type of doctor that will turn over all the stones to get the answer she's looking for, to make sure everything is good. So I go to see the endocrine specialist. She, again, runs tests. I'm going through all these tests. Some scan she orders. I don't even remember the name of the scan. And, I have a talk with her, and she says, well, you got a lot of things going on here. She said, it's not only the GLP-1 medications that could have caused your pancreatitis. She said, your blood pressure medication. I'm like, wait, what? She said, yes. I think I'm on, I'm on Linacipro combo with HTCZ, which is the water pill. So I'm on that combination. I don't remember how many milligrams. And she said, she said, those medications can cause acute pancreatitis. So I'm confused now because I've been on my blood pressure medicine for quite some time, for years. So I'm confused. Again, this is no hit on Wegovy. Please don't take my video down. I am just sharing my experience, what happened to me. Again, I don't know if it was something brewing in the background. And once I took the Wegovy, whatever ingredient in there, it just kicked it into overdrive and the symptoms just blew up. I don't know. I'm just sharing my experience. So anyway, she ran tests and again, everything came back fine. My pancreatic enzymes are back to normal, but everybody is taking precaution. So I've been, again, off of the medication since October. So what is happening? I'm going to tell you in a minute. The pause and the weight gain. What happened? Off of Zepbound for 4 months. What's going on? Here's what's going on. Before stopping Zepbound, I had hit a stall. I stalled out on or at 165, which I had already made peace with, because I was realizing that my body had hit a set point. Because although I had gotten to 159, it's like my body said, oh no, we're not comfortable here. We're going back up. And for months, I was 165, 163, 165, 163. Just that's the range. So I'm like, okay, I continued to exercise and weight train, strength train, and I was just bouncing. So I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at. Where, honestly speaking, I liked how I looked. My face had fulled back out, and I was comfortable at, between that 160 and 165. But us, we have this number and this challenge in our head that we want to get to a certain number. But sometimes I've learned that you have to let that number go and be realistic. Listen to your body, look and see what you're looking like, how you're shaping out. Because the one thing I didn't want is to look like I'm sick or something's wrong with me. I wanted to lose the weight, look and be healthy. Not only look healthy, but be healthy. So I made peace with that. After coming off the medication, I'm between that 10 to 12 pound mark where I'm fluctuating. So currently I'm at 174. I think this morning I was 175 even. Yesterday when I weighed, I was 174.4. I'm making this video, what's today? Tuesday, January 20th. Hopefully I can get this out to you before the end of the week, but I'm recording the video January 20th. So January 19th, I was 174.4. January 20th, I was 175 even. So I've been bouncing around 170, 175. My appetite, food noise. I don't think that I have food noise, but I'm more aware of my hunger cues. Before, when you're on Zepbound, hours would go by and you've forgotten that you didn't eat. Now I get hungry, but it's not like I'm thinking about food. I'm hungry because 4 hours have gone by and it's time for me to eat. So I've gotten my hunger cues back. I've also gotten my fullness cues back. When I'm full, I stop eating. Um, I still don't have much of an appetite. I'm eating the same amount. Like I was on Zepbound. Um, it's just that I can eat a little more. But I am purposely not eating more. I am eating the same portions that I would on Zepbound. I'm able to get more fluids in because I'm not as full. So even though I want to eat more, I'm eating, I'm really managing my portions and I'm filling the rest with water. Also, what I'm doing is that, again, this is key. While on the medication, you have to develop good habits because if, like me, you have to stop the medication for a medical reason or whatever, or the medication is longer available, you have developed those good habits. Because how I'm eating now off the medication is the same way I was eating while on the medication. I'm focusing on protein first. Everything that I eat is protein first. I'm still doing my protein coffee in the mornings. As I'm a breakfast person. A lot of people I hear say, oh, they're tired of the protein coffee. They don't like eggs. I could eat eggs for dinner. That's just me. And I love coffee. I love hot coffee. I am not a cold brew girl. So I love hot coffee in the mornings or tea. But if I have a preference, it'll be coffee and then tea throughout the day. So because I had developed those good habits from January 26, 2024, when I started Zepbound, to now January of 2026, I am able to continue those habits. And although I've gained that, 10 pounds, I think it could be worse. And I think for me personally, this is my body's set point. I think this is where my body is comfortable at. Although I would like to get back to 160, I liked how I looked at 160. My size 10s still fit, but they are a little snug because I'm a hippie girl. I noticed that my stomach is back a little bit. So I'm fitting my size 10s. They're just a little more snug than they used to be. Because like I said, I had gotten into an 8 comfortably, right? So again, while on your medication, it's important not to just depend on the medication. You have to develop those core habits. There are certain foods that I had taken out of my diet, like rice and pasta and all those things. In the beginning, I had taken them out, but I've since brought them back. But I brought them back to a minimum because, again, your body needs carbs. Carbs is not the enemy. It's the enemy if you don't know how to portion them out right and eat them right and incorporate them into your diet. We just eat the wrong type of carbs and sometimes at the wrong time. I try not to eat late at night still. If I want something to eat, I'll have a yogurt parfait in the evenings, or, something light, a salad. My favorite thing now is avocado salad. I'll get avocado, tomatoes, cucumbers, and I'll make a little salad out of that. I've since incorporated mangoes into that salad, and it's delicious. You can have it by itself. You can have it with your meats. So I have a small portion of rice if I have rice at all. Sometimes I don't want it. And, I'll have that with my protein. I am not a protein bar girl. I've never been. I don't like the taste of protein bars. Everybody's different. I like the protein shakes. I still do the Premier Protein and the Fairlife chocolate. That's my favorite. I don't have a problem with those. But again, I would rather eat my protein than drink it. Although I do use the protein shake in my coffee, but I'll have my egg and whatever else I'm having for breakfast. Since I'm not doing bread, I do the Soho or solo bagels. I've incorporated those into my regimen. I'm not gonna say diet. Shout out to Traces of Twan's life. Check her out. That's where I first heard about the solo bagels. So I get those. I get the 2% or 1% protein milk. I can't think of the name right now. So I'm saying all of this to say that I set a foundation prior to me having to come off the medication. I didn't know that I would have to come off the medication. So because I set those foundations, I'm able to continue on. And although I have a little bit of weight gain, I'm comfortable with it. I'm still going to try to get back to exercising. I haven't been exercising like I should be because I've been doing a lot of traveling, trying to get my son situated. You can check out that video where I talk about my son's situation. So I've been back and forth to New York. It was the holidays. I went on my vacation to St. Croix. You can go look at that video. So I'm just really now settling back down and trying to recalibrate and get back into my routine and get back to the gym and get back exercising. But overall, my food intake have stayed, consistent. Protein first, even though I was on vacation, I went to the islands, I was able to control my eating. And like I said, I wasn't really hungry. I just ate when I was supposed to eat. I've heard people say they're ravenously hungry. That wasn't my experience. I still feel like I have appetite suppression, but my cues are back. My body tells me, hey, it's time to eat because I'm feeling hungry. Hey, you need to stop because I'm full. So again, while on this journey, please develop those good habits because you never know down the road what's going to happen. And this is work. We put in the work. This is not just take this injection or take this pill and you lay down and the weight just melts off. Most of us had to put in the work. So we don't want it to be in vain. So I'm saying this over and over again because I want to instill this in you. And I've said this in my other video. There are people that just take the medication like, oh, I don't have to exercise. I'll exercise after I lose the weight. Oh, I'm eating the same. I'm just eating less of it. You have to develop those core habits. It will take you a long way. This is what I'm learning. But to be fair, I was never a big eater to begin with. So that compounded with the medication and being disciplined with what I eat and focusing on protein has been able to sustain me. So let's get into the other part. Like I stated, this was a surprise to me because I was freaking out when my doctor told me that she was not putting me back on the medication. And my conversation with her is that she'll put me back on, but she'll start me from the beginning and she'll monitor me closely. We haven't decided at what point yet. I'm still seeing the endocrine doctor, and they're still, overseeing me And at some point, I'll return back to my primary care. And the plan is to start me back on 2.5. But I had to stop the medication abruptly. I didn't have any side effects. You know, I didn't have any side effects. I don't know what else to say. And I just transitioned in. I stayed even keel for months. I think I'm still, right here on this straight line. The only thing I would say that's different is that I find that I have a little bit more of a sweet tooth than I did before. That's about the only thing. I still, every now and again, I'll have fried foods, but I don't care for it. It still feels funny in my stomach. Like if I have fried chicken, because I love fried chicken. I used to love fried chicken. But I have it now. It just kind of sits. It doesn't, I don't know, something with the oil. I can't have oily foods or high fats foods anymore. It just kind of, I can feel it just sitting on my stomach. But anyway, lessons that 2025 taught me. Progress is linear. Zepbound, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Trulicity. I don't remember the other one. These GLP-1 medications are just tools. It's tools to aid us in our weight loss journey. We cannot become so reliant on them. Again, you have to develop some form of discipline because it's a journey. This is a lifetime journey for most of us because most of us are doing this to be healthy. This is not some fad or we want to get into this dress for this occasion. Most of us, this is not the case. Most of us, this is life or death. For some of us, we want to get healthy. So why not do it right? Why not use the medication as a tool to get you to where you want to be? Okay? And along the way, you develop core habits that will sustain you. Remember that health comes before speed. Like I said, weight loss is not linear. There were months, like I said, I stalled. I stalled for months. And not one time, I had several stalls. But you have to look at those non-scale victories. I went down in bra size. I went down in dress size, pant size. I even went down in shoe size. I was able, to see my body shape out in different ways. I do have loose skin, but it's something that I come to terms with, not only because of the weight loss, because I'm a more mature woman. So menopause played a part in that too. But I'm working out as much as I can. And it's just something that I've come to terms with. It's just one of those things in your life that you have to accept it. Will I consider surgery sometime down the line? I might. I am capable. This is what I'm going to say. I am capable even without the medication. And I've proven that to myself, that I can sustain. And I believe the 10 pounds is inflammation. Because, like I said, there's some times that I could feel like I'm puffy. And, I'm able to get my water in. And I have irregular bowel movements. I still have my morning regimen of warm lemon water. I do that before I eat. I also do some prune juice. Like every other morning, one morning I'll have the lemon water. The other morning I'll have the warm prune juice. So I'm staying regular. And yeah, I'm just continuing. I'm continuing on my journey because I'm not going to let this deter me. I'm not going to let this disrupt all the work that I put in almost 2 years. I'm not going to do it. So let's talk about gratitude and perspective. I am grateful to my body for speaking up. Our body always gives us cues, but there are times when we don't listen, we ignore it. And like I said, I don't know if I can blame it totally on Wegovy, or if Wegovy just exacerbated what I had underlying. Because like I said, I had similar symptoms of abdominal pain before, not that intense, but I passed it off as gas. So if you're on this medication and you feel funny or you're having symptoms that is not normal, don't ignore it. Talk to your healthcare provider as quickly as you can. Don't ignore any signs or symptoms that your body's giving you. I am grateful for my doctor for prioritizing my long-term health. Even though as a patient, I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. We as patients can be so non-compliant at times. I am guilty, but I get it. I totally get it. My doctor cares for me. We have a long-term healthy patient-doctor relationship, and I respect her judgment. So I'm going to hold tight and, like I said, do what I need to do as a patient and follow instructions. My other point is this year it shifted my mindset from weight loss fast to staying healthy long term. And this is my advice to you. Let it be about getting to a healthy weight the right way and staying at the healthy weight the right way. Again, by developing those core habits. Looking ahead, what am I focused on now? My focus is on sustainability, maintenance, and balance. I think those are the 3 key things that we should all incorporate into our journey. Sustaining your weight loss, maintaining your habits, your good habits, and finding balance, which is important. It's very important on this journey because I find sometimes we can be too extreme to one side or the other. We have to find balance in what we're doing and why we're doing it. So this is where I'm at, and I'm going to leave these 2 questions with you. And comment down below. I'd love to engage with you and talk about it. What did 2025 teach you? Have you experienced a setback that taught you something important? Comment down below and let's engage in a conversation. And if you're here for an honest GLP-1 conversation, make sure to subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so when I upload a video, you'll get the notification. So I'm going to end my video here. And as I always end my videos, remember, take time for life's simple pleasures and share a smile. Until we meet again, be good to yourself, take care of yourself, and take care of each other. Goodbye, friend.